Hola amigos, I hope you guys are doing very well today. Of course, I'm still here in Tulum on holiday. I'll be back next week, my friends. I've got a few more days left here, and apologies for not being able to make as many videos as possible. I'm with the group right now, and I don't want to be that guy that's holding up the entire group all the time. Don't worry, I'm going to have a preview out for our game this Saturday, as well as a review, and hopefully if there's some free time in between, hopefully another video, because you guys know I love talking about the football club and making videos for all you guys. In today's News Eddy video, we discuss striking options in OSIMHEN and Ivan Toney for next season. I'll talk the future of aubameyang, as well as what is happening with ANDREY Santos and this work permit. So there's a ton of things to break down and discuss. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Of course, hit that like button, share your thoughts and opinions below in the comment section, and hit that like button too if you're liking the tan. Seen a bit of a different Nini, a tanned up Nini right now. Normally when I go on holiday to hot places, I just get sunburn, and honestly it's not a pretty sight whatsoever. So I'm actually happy that this time everything's going to plan. So I don't know how I'm going on. Let's get straight into things and let's break down the first story. Right now, let's start with things and let's discuss aubameyang and his future, because at this point in time, it does seem like he is set to be leaving us quite soon, and there's talks of a move to LA Dodgers with him moving to the MLS. Now, you guys have heard my thoughts and opinions before. I do feel sympathetic for aubameyang. I think it's been a pretty mad set of events in his career currently. He didn't want to leave Barcelona. He was forced to leave Barcelona. He only signed for us because Thomas Tuchel was here, and then literally in like, what, 24, 48 hours, Tuchel is out the door, and now a new manager takes over that doesn't quite fancy him. So what do you do as a player? Especially when you're going through mad times in your personal life, the whole robbery incident with his family as well too. You're really feeling like a commodity in this game, and us fans a lot of times will be very hard on players for, not accepting moves and, not allowing themselves to be sold on, all this type of stuff. And it's just like, ultimately, at the end of the day, this game does not really care about you unless you're offering the goods, and that is all people care about. So I think a move to LA Dodgers, of course, comes maybe a bit too soon, in my opinion. I think he has maybe a few more seasons left in Europe, but at this point in time, he's had a fantastic career. He's done a lot of good things as well. And he may be thinking to himself, this could be the time now to move myself and my family now to, living in America and just enjoying our lives over there. I mean, the MLS League is a league that continues to grow and improve. And I'm really curious to see what's going to happen in the next 10 years, because there's a lot of great talents and the football's getting really good now in that country. So, yeah, there's a lot of promise on the horizon. But I think ultimately, for the sake of like football talk right now, I just don't think aubameyang, unfortunately, suits what we want to do. He doesn't press, and we've seen what happens over the years when we have strikers that don't put in those defensive shifts. They don't last here, and I don't blame aubameyang for that. He's never been that guy. He relies exclusively upon service from behind, and we're not the type of team to really give that. So he has to be sacrificed for the greater goods, and I hope that we are respectful and we don't do a Hakim Ziyech and allow this guy to move on and, of course, continue his career. So that's the first story out of the way. So right now, let's move on to the next story and let's discuss ANDREY Santos and what is happening with his work permit. Now, there is some positive news on the horizon. This has been confirmed today by Fabrizio Romano, and I'm going to break down the story to give you guys some context and understanding behind what the hell is actually going on. So currently, as we know, he is with the Brazil under-20 team in the under-20 tournament in South America. He's got 5 goals in 6 appearances. He's playing in the base of a midfield 3. He is the captain of that national team as well too, and he is part of a very exciting young Brazilian generation that is about to be coming through very, very soon. At this point in time, he is 1 point off from securing a work permit to, of course, officially play for us and, of course, join up with the squad. As we also know, the club wants Santos to get this work permit secured right now. They want to use him. They believe in his talent. And this guy really is one of the most promising young midfield players in Europe, in my opinion. Amazing business we got this guy secured. And the fact that we are only 1 point off from securing a work permit gives you a lot of confidence. Now, with current FA rules, they actually allow you to have special exemptions if you can prove a player is of significant potential. And the club's plan is to use his performances in the under-20 tournament, of course, to show that we've some of the most promising Brazilian talents of his generation, and this is why he must be playing for us. We've confirmed the fact that we want to use him right now. And if Chelsea Football Club want to use a 18-year-old from the 2nd division of Brazil, then you must believe this guy is a talented player. So I am not worried or nervous about Santos getting this work permit. And even if by unfortunate circumstances that, the work permit is not permitted, we have backup plans in case. In May, there is the Under-20 World Cup. Of course, Santos will be taking part in that naturally. And if those performances in the Under-20 World Cup still don't work for Santos, then we'll just loan him back to a team in Brazil playing in the top divisions. I don't think we'll get that deep, but clubs prepare for any and every single circumstance, so it is what it is. But for me, I'm looking forward to seeing him joining the squad of the season. The club feel quite optimistic now that it is going to get secured, and hopefully if Brazil win the tournament outright, then of course, naturally, that should secure things and he's playing for us. Now, for me, in my opinion, I think Santos is one of the most moldable midfield profiles I've seen in a very long time. I could easily envision this guy being like the DM destroyer that, receives balls from the defense, that he breaks up plays, that, wins tackles, that brings that real physicality into the midfield. And superb technicality as well too. At the same time, he can be like an advanced 8 that is able to play in both boxes, which is something he has done quite a lot playing for Vasco da Gama. He can influence the game in different phases. And he's also someone that can play in a pivot, play in a 3, and play in multiple positions. So I'm really excited by this guy's prospects, and I'm really excited by his potential. I think he's got a lot of fantastic qualities for his age right now. I mean, the physicality, the mentality. The guy's a real leader. And to be a successful team, you need profiles and mentalities like this. They complement with the rest of the players in your team. Now, he's currently playing in the base of a midfield 3, and I would not be surprised if we saw him playing that role as the season comes to its end, because we do need a DM profile. Zakaria has his injuries as well, and I think Santos could be getting game time in the base midfield alongside guys like Enzo's, Mounts, etc, etc. So I'm really excited to see what develops with the story, and I'm looking forward to this getting wrapped up. So right now, let's move on to the next big story, and let's discuss potential striking options for the 23-24 season. At this point in time, the two favourite names right now are Victor Osimhen from Napoli and Ivan Toney of Brentford. Now, I think both these profiles are very interesting. I think they're both incredible talents. I mean, this season already, Osimhen has 22 goals and 3 assists in 25 games. You've got Ivan Toney with 14 goals and 4 assists in 21 games as well too. And maybe right now the club are thinking we need to sign a number 9. Now I'm going to use this example very briefly, you guys. Don't get too mad. Just let me finish my point first. But let's use Lukaku as an example. Now, even though he had his difficulties and didn't have his greatest season, his goal scoring rate compared to the amount of chances created for him, his conversion rate was quite decent. As we saw, he didn't need 5 opportunities to get a goal. And when you compare that to someone like a Kai Havertz, who needs a lot of opportunities, of course, to show that clinical side to his game, you can see why maybe the club could be considering signing a number 9. But of course, if you're looking at guys like Osimhen and Ivan Toney, they're going to cost you tens and tens of millions and millions. Today, De Laurentiis came out to state that Osimhen is not for sale at any cost. Napoli are not in debt. So already that tells you that he's going to cost you more than 100 million. Now, ideally, I've always liked Napoli. I wouldn't mind seeing Osimhen, Kvaratskhelia, all these guys remaining to dominate Serie A. I think the history, the way they play, it would be quite beautiful for them to be like the next leading club in Serie A, and they have an opportunity to do that right now. So if you want Osimhen, be prepared to pay incredible money. Napoli have had a long-standing interest in Armando Broja, and with all the young forwards we have currently at this point in time, could we sacrifice a Broja if it helps us secure Osimhen? But still, let's come back to the point that Toney and Osimhen are going to cost you incredible amounts of money. And if we don't get Champions League football, is that not going to hinder our ability to spend big in the summer? We only need a few more positions now to fully complete and rebuild an entire new team and squad. So if we don't get Champions League football, I do think that player sales are going to help fund making moves for new players. And I think potentially, if we are strongly going in for number 9, I wouldn't be surprised if Kai Havertz was put on the chopping block. I mean, there have been some reports coming out that there is like a potential for him to move. There's asking prices between 50 to 60 million. And a part of me kind of feels like, even though Kai Havertz is a talent, his best work does come as a second striker. And when you have João Felix that you're potentially hoping to sign once his loan spell ends. When you have Nkunku coming from next season, that's nearly 3 players that play their best game as that supporting role in behind a main striker and playing off of them. And I do think if you have a João Felix and Nkunku, maybe you're sacrificing a Kai Havertz, so of course find that number 9 for these guys to play off with and complement their natural games. Now, I released a video on Mason Mount, and I was actually planning on doing that for Jorginho next, but now he's moved to Arsenal. I think I'm going to make that on Jorginho eventually. I think there's definitely a lot to say about Jorginho's time here, and I think he needs to get like a proper conclusion to, his time as a Chelsea player. But another guy I've been currently looking at has been Kai Havertz, and I kind of feel like it's easier to finish off opportunities when you're like making those late man runs inside the box, when you're moving into the box unmarked. You have time and space to pick where you want to place your shots. And I think the difficulty that Havertz is having right now is that he is now leading the line for us, which means that there's extra pressure now to be more clinical, because that opportunity created for you can definitely affect and change the game even more. And I think he is currently struggling with that because his conversion rate, that composure, these were aspects of his game we were seeing at Bayer Leverkusen, and they have not necessarily translated to the highest level at this point in time. On one hand, I do feel like Havertz could come good, but the consequence is you'd have to give him at least another 1 or 2 years to really like change his instincts behind how he finishes and how he moves. Do we have the time for that? I'm not too sure. And maybe if you're thinking I could get money for him to sign a more traditional strike that's going to complement my Nkunku's, my João Felix's, because I mean, João Felix was playing off of Seferovic at Benfica, had an amazing season with him, and basically made goals for Seferovic. You're looking at Nkunku playing off guys like Poulsen. So there's evidence to suggest that if you got like a leading 9 in an OSIMHEN or an Ivan Toney, you could be like just boosting the chemistry in this team and taking that chemistry to a higher level. So I guess now it's quite interesting because it's like, who would you necessarily go for? Are you going to go for an OSIMHEN? In my opinion, I think he does his best work when he's attacking in the transition, when he's counter-attacking. I mean, his explosive pace over distances, the guy's mentality, timing of runs, his strength as well too. In my opinion, I think OSIMHEN is the best aerial forward in the world. I don't think anyone's better than him. His leap is kind of like dropper-esque in my opinion. I could easily see us being a more like transition-based team, similar to like a Real Madrid, where we're allowing guys like João Felix, Mudryk and co to show off their 1v1 threat. And if they're complemented by OSIMHEN on top, that could be unreal. And of course, moving on to Ivan Toney. I mean, Ivan Toney, every division he's been in, from Division 1 for Peterborough, moving up to the Championship, to the Premier League, the guy is ticking off assignment after assignment. I think the guy is a very special talent. I think he's a great player. I think he's got great technique, great mentality. And for me, maybe you might consider an Ivan Toney if you're thinking, okay, most of our games are against opponents who are sitting back, parking the bus and defending. Ivan Toney is that guy that can be the focal point up front, that can bring others into the game, that can link up with guys, that can run in behind. He is like a complete forward that can do everything in the final third. And on top of that, he is a world-class penalty taker. And you're guaranteeing how many goals per season if you're winning penalties, which I'm assuming guys like Nkunku, João Felix and Mudryk are going to do from next season. I think that if we make a move for any striker though, it is going to confirm the fact that a player is leaving. Could that be a João Felix that maybe we're not able to like tie down and sign on a permanent? I would be devastated. I would be absolutely devastated if we don't sign João Felix on a permanent. I've watched this guy for too long. I've loved this game for so long that to me it still doesn't make sense, and it still feels surreal that he is actually in a Chelsea shirt and currently he is loving life in London. He is someone that has not hit his full peak potential, but this guy could be one of the most devastating leading players in the Premier League if we secure him, and if we get the right striker to like complement his game for him to play off with, you're making the whole team better in that sense. So it's a very interesting question. I imagine that there's a lot of conversations and debates happening at the higher levels at the club just to decide how do we put the finishing touches on this team. And I do think that if we go for a striker, it is probably confirming the fact that potentially or most likely Kai Havertz will be leaving. So let's see what happens in that case, my friends. Right now, my friends, with that note, I'm going to wrap things up, keep things moving. Share your thoughts and opinions below in the comment section. I want to hear what you guys are thinking about the striker situation for next season. Let us all know. Right now, I'm going to get my ass back to this beach, yeah? I'm seeing on the weather app that it's -3 degrees in London. I feel sorry for you guys right now, yeah. But honestly, I've got a corona waiting for me. It's time to move. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you guys stay tuned for more content on Blue Lions TV. I'm in EFC. This is Blue Lions TV. Catch you guys later. Cool.